Laker fans, what's going on? Great to see everyone again. How about those Lakers? 2-0, really good start to the year. Two really good teams that they've beaten, Minnesota and Phoenix. What a game last night. Obviously, down huge, down by 22 at one point in the game. To come back and win 123 to 116. Had a 12-point lead, all the way from a 22-point deficit to a 12-point lead. Big win for the Lakers, and they're back tonight, back playing Sacramento. So we're getting into a little Sacramento preview, how I think the bench fared last night in the first game. But I'm going to start here with 80 is the main focal point from LeBron. LeBron talked post-game about how the offense needs to be run through Anthony Davis. And that's what something JJ Redick has talked about all offseason. And a lot of coaches have done that. So it was like kind of taken with a grain of salt. It's like, yeah, that's great. But no one's really been able to unlock AE's potential because we know how good he is and how good he can be. I mean, he's been unbelievable. 36 points against Minnesota, 35 points last night. He's the front runner for the MVP. I know 2 games in, can't get too excited, but still huge. StatMuse, he's most points per game this season. He's averaging 35 and a half. Trae Young's behind him at 34. LaMelo's at 34, and Giannis is at 31 and a half. So good early returns on Anthony Davis. Hopefully he stays healthy, of course, but to give him some credit, he played 76 games last year. So maybe he's made a change. He definitely looks different. He looks stronger. And LeBron had this to say also regarding it. It's very important that he's the main focal point for us every single night. We know what he's going to do defensively, but offensively, we have to find him in multiple places on the floor throughout the whole game. And we've done that through 2 games. I think you can see it also with the like him taking threes. JJ Redick really stressed that. Like he needs to take around 3 threes a game. It was a big part of his game when the Lakers won the championship in 2020. They obviously hit the big shot in the playoffs, the buzzer beater. It's Anthony Davis. It's fun to watch because I think that's been frustrating for watching the Lakers for years. Is we've had a player who's a top 5 talent who you see at times can literally take it to anyone on the floor and used to be in the discussions for some of the best players in basketball. And it feels like because of the injuries in a few years, he kind of fell out of that discussion. And we forget when Anthony Davis is healthy, he's up there with all Jokic and Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic. I mean, he's a guy you would want to build a team around. And if you took the injury history away, he might be at the top of that list or one of the first few names called off it. So it's great to see Anthony Davis being the focal point. This is really important, I think, for later in the year as well, because the Lakers can't afford to have LeBron carrying the team every single night. He's 40 years old, and it's amazing what he's still doing. He's been unreal. He's still one of the top players in basketball, but you can't be asking him every single night to play that kind of minutes, have that kind of mileage on him. And then when you get to the playoffs, expect big-time LeBron performances. This is the kind of play, and I know it's 2 games in the season, so it's still super early. A lot of things can happen. But these are the kind of things that allow for LeBron to have a vintage performance in the playoffs. Now that he's not playing every night up to his full capacity, having to drop 30, 35 points. We saw what happened a couple of years ago when he literally was averaging something like 35 points a game because the Lakers literally couldn't win without it. They had to have it. And I think you're seeing that with the supporting cast. And if LeBron is your number 2 option, I mean, look out, league. That's something to be reckoned with, because if Anthony Davis is playing up to his potential, and what he did, he limited Jusuf Nurkic last night. Jusuf Nurkic was really not a big factor in this game. And this is a guy that's really taken it to Anthony Davis the last few years. Anthony Davis has had problems with him, rebounding, defending him. And it was kind of a thing last year where outside of playing the Thunder, playing traditional bigs and Jokic and Nurkic and Karl Anthony Towns, he didn't have a lot of success. And it was frustrating because you're like, these are the guys who you should be beating. These are the guys that you're playing in the Western Conference that you have to be better than, because you are better than them. Or, maybe Jokic you could debate, but the other ones you're better than. Why are you not showing up when the bigs aren't there? It's great to see that, he did against the Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert, one of the best defensive players in basketball, put on a clinic. Julius Randle, was very good. I know he's adjusting to his new team, but the other night against the Kings, so we're going to see tonight, he had 33 points. So he clearly got settled in right after the Lakers. The Lakers did something to really limit his production. And then to hold Nurkic to not really being a factor in this game, that's a really good sign. I can't wait for the Lakers to play the Nuggets. I hope this continues, and we get to see that against Jokic. He's got another one tonight. Domantas Sabonis is a guy who's had big performances against the Lakers, and specifically Anthony Davis. So he's kind of got a little bit of a hit list early, a little bit of a a little revenge tour going on. You'd love to see the Lakers go 3-0 and play well against Sabonis. Sabonis has really kind of punked the Lakers a few years. Same with De'Aaron Fox. The Kings have had the Lakers number, and this is a big game tonight, I think, to really show some dominance in the West. But we'll get to that a little bit later. The bench contributions. I mean, wow. The bench, I'm not going to sit here they've been unreal yet, but 22 points from the bench, you'll take that. I mean, Jackson Hayes, 6 points. Gabe Vincent, 5. Max Christie, 3. Dalton Connect, 8. That's what you got to see. I mean, they can't just be non-existent. And the first night, it was a little like, are we seeing the same thing? 80 at 36 points, and the bench didn't really contribute that much. Connect had 5 points, but that was about it. Jackson Hayes had a little bit of a nice game. But you're getting stuff from everyone now. Jackson Hayes has been really efficient, I think, in him settling into this role of being a rebounder and a guy who can spell Anthony Davis and a guy who just runs the floor. I mean, he understands. He's like, I'm not jacking up shots. I'm running the floor. I'm getting easy buckets. He's kind of hanging in that 6 to 12 point range. And if you can get that from Jackson Hayes every night, that's money. That's exactly what you want. That can just give you some minutes off the bench. And that was funny that the D-Lo at the end of the game last night when he passed, he has an open three, passes it to Jackson Hayes, and Jackson Hayes gives it back to D'Angelo Russell. I think that shows leadership from Jackson Hayes, knowing D'Angelo Russell's obviously really struggled the first 2 games. He has not really got it going. And you don't want him to lose confidence in his shot because he's the guy the Lakers are going to have to need. And he's like, no, you need to take this. You need to get it back. But it was kind of funny that D'Lo thought, like, no one including Richard Jefferson said it. No one, including Jackson Hayes, thinks that Jackson Hayes should be shooting threes in the corner and in the fourth quarter. That's not a recipe for success. That's not a way the Lakers are going to win games. So he's really settling in that role. Dalton Connect just looks unreal. I mean, those 2 back-to-back threes he had last night, he's firing with confidence, and he just looks poised. And it's kind of crazy, a guy in his second game in the NBA that looks that poised. He honestly looks a little bit more poised than Max Christie and Gabe Vincent out there, and they played in the league for a while, especially Gabe Vincent. Vincent had 5, Christie had 3. Like to see a little bit more production from those guys, but Gabe Vincent does bring it defensively, so he had a decent game. 22 points off the bench. I really look forward to that tonight, hopefully seeing the bench grow. They're better than they were against the Timberwolves the other night. And, Connect's just going to keep getting better and better, and I like that they're kind of slowly bringing him along and allowing him to kind of grow in the system and hopefully, become that big-time scorer. And he's clearly not afraid to pull it, and that's what you need from a shooter. You don't want a guy that's scared and hesitating and thinking. You need a guy like Dalton Connect. I really want D'Lo to start playing like that again, because we know when D'Lo's kind of in his groove, he's one of the most confident offensive players there is. And so far this year, he hasn't really shown that yet. But I don't expect that to go too long because D'Angelo Russell is a very good player. But quick before we move on to the Kings, just got to give a quick shout out. Austin Reaves was excellent. Obviously, 26 points, unbelievable, 5 of 7 from 3. He's really picking up the slack in terms of D'Lo not really showing up so far. This is the Austin Reaves we're all waiting for. This is a guy who could be the third option on a team. This team's surprisingly deep with Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves. And if you had told me the Lakers go 2-0 and D'Angelo Russell has a combined 14 points on the season over through 2 games, that's not something I would have expected. So they're picking up the slack while he's out. Pretty nasty starting 5. And if Austin Reaves can kind of keep this up, especially from 3, I love that JJ Redick is emphasizing taking the 3-point shot from Anthony Davis, from Austin Reaves to everyone all around. It's going to pay big dividends down the road. And yeah, you're going to see bad shooting nights. You're going to see bad shooting nights against Minnesota. They weren't good from 3. They were like 5 from 31 or 5 for 30, something like that. But there's going to be nights where, can't miss. The Suns in the first half could not miss a shot. And then it kind of ran out. And the Lakers were able to kind of keep clawing their way back in and putting pressure on them. And they were able to obviously win it at the end. Looking at Sacramento, very interesting team. I talked about earlier, a lot of talent on this team. They have given the Lakers problems the last few years. It has been tough watching some of these games. There seems to be little defense played. I think that's what we're looking forward tonight. This team, it does look different. They added DeMar DeRozan now. He had a big game against the Timberwolves. The Kings have played 1 game this year. They lost the Timberwolves 117-115. DeMar DeRozan, 26 points. That's a big add for them. It kind of gives them another big-time scorer alongside with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis at 24. Fox at 15. A little quiet game for him the other night. Keegan Murray, very good as well. He had 23. Kevin Huerter was pretty quiet against Timberwolves too, but he's had some really big games against the Lakers, and he's a 3-point knockdown specialist. The Kings aren't getting a lot from their bench, albeit one game, but outside of Malik Monk, who us Laker fans know he was great for the Lakers. He's decimated the Lakers since because we didn't sign him that long-term contract. He's kind of the only guy off the bench. Keon Ellis is a nice kind of story, nice player, but he's young. Alex Len, Doug McDermott, Trey Lyles, they're all kind of journeymen. Not expecting too much from them every night, but Malik Monk's really the guy that they come in to spell, and Fox and these guys to add points. He had 17 the other night. So Lakers really got to get a handle on this. Again, I really want to see Anthony Davis be big tonight, and I want to see D'Lo go toe-for-toe with Fox. And we know De'Aaron Fox is an elite player and has had some huge games against the Lakers. I think tonight, a successful night is I want to see D'Angelo Russell get going. I don't want to see him be shy with his shot. I think he only took 6 shots last night. That needs to be up. That needs to be north of 10 every single night. And we got to figure out how to guard. We had 2 really good games, defensive game plans against the Timberwolves and the Suns. This is another big test. These guys can score from all angles. Don't let Fox, what was he averaging? Something crazy like in the mid-30s against the Lakers. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. Like it's time to impose a little will back on the Sacramento Kings. They've had their due that the Lakers passed on him, and he has tortured the Lakers ever since. This is a big spot. Sacramento's favored by 1.5. The total set at 230.5. Kind of a little bit lower of a total, actually. I'm a little bit of a testament to the Lakers defense. Usually in Kings games, that totals up to high 230s, low 240s, whatever it is, because they just fire. They don't play a lot of defense, but they can score a lot of points. So be our first look at their kind of big 3 with adding DeMar DeRozan in there. And I think if the Lakers just play their game, no one should be able to defend Anthony Davis if he's playing like this. Domantas Sabonis is a great offensive player. He's not some elite defensive player. I want to see Anthony Davis take over, and I really would like to see the bench keep contributing and getting better, and just keep adding some stuff in off the bench where the starters don't have to have all that pressure on them through the whole game, especially with a high-scoring team like Sacramento. So excited. Hopefully our Lakers go 3-0. Exciting start to the season, and thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate it. And be back with another one for Monday's game tomorrow. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.